Hello, I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Solar 175. This is a legacy Euro game for 1 to 4 players, and it plays in about, 45 minutes to, an hour 20, depending how far along you are in the campaign. So in this video, I'm not going to be doing an overview of the game. I have a playthrough on my channel that I did. The links to it are in the show notes below, so you can go check that out if you want to see how the game plays. In this video, I'm just going to be reviewing the game and giving you my final thoughts on it. So let's start by talking about the components in this game. As you can see here, the components are actually quite nice for this game. You've got nice chunky miniatures for your ships that they move around the board. One of the big things I like about this game, this is a bag building game where you don't have to upgrade the tokens that go in the bag. These are wooden tokens, they're screen printed. With your, your starting ones have your faction symbol on them, and then the ones that you add to your bag have the action symbol on them in different colors that are nice wooden tokens. I think I can't believe it took this long for a game to come out with just the regular edition that has bag building tokens that are not cardboard. Given that that's the number one complaint for most bag builders, that you need to upgrade the bits that go in the bag. This one comes with them wooden pieces out of the gate, so you don't have to upgrade those. All the other components are quite nice. These mining tokens are also wood. They're nice little silver pieces. The outpost tokens, then they're all wooden tokens, but they're nice. These are the hubs and the military tokens. So they're all pretty good, really nice high quality components and look really great. Also, what works really well, these are the voting tokens in the game. There's voting in this game, and so they give you a washable marker, and you can write on these tokens, and they erase very well, and they work really well. And then you get a little voting box here that goes together quite easily and just fits in the box. So all those tokens are great. Your outposts or your base tokens are these kind of plastic beads. They look really nice on the board, and they function really well. You get a dual layer player board to keep all your components in. So that's really nice, and the art in this game is very nice. The tiles on the board look really good, and all the components look really nice, and everything's very readable. You don't have a hard time reading any of the icons or anything like that. So I think the components are really great for this game. Mechanically, so if you've ever played a game called Orleans, you're going to be very familiar with this game. They've basically outright taken the base mechanics from Orleans, the how the bag building works, and actually almost verbatim how the action selection and everything works in Orleans, and they've basically reskinned this to a space game. So this is kind of Space Orleans, and then they've made some tweaks to the system and added some things in that, because obviously in Orleans, in the base game at least, you don't really have an element where you're exploring a map or anything like that. You kind of do, but not to the same extent as in here. But the main idea is the same. You'll have your available workers section that you draw your workers into, and then you have your actions on your board that you have to slot your workers into, and when the action is fully occupied, then you can take that action on your turn, and you can pre-populate them. All that kind of stuff works the same. When you buy a worker, it has an action attached to it that you can do, or it upgrades your board, whatever. So that's very, very similar to Orleans. So if you've already played Orleans, then this will be very familiar to you, and you'll probably learn it quite quickly. How it differs, though, is the kind of the main point in this game and how this game works is this game's kind of unique from Orleans in that you kind of, at least I've never played Orleans this way, but in this game you really want to start burning your workers or pruning your bag really quickly in this game, because you have to get your workers on these hubs to make the various scoring options in this game worth points, right? So if you're going for mega structure scoring, then you've got to burn your workers into this mega scoring, mega structure hub. For each one you put in there, it's worth an extra point, and that works the same for all the different. There's various ways to score, and basically you're making the your favorite ways to score more valuable by taking workers out of your bag and burning them in the hubs, and so they'll pile up. And then the kind of the second part of this game into the scoring is the voting. You're going to vote for one of the factions, and depending on which faction wins the voting, one of three of the ways to score will be doubled, so it'll be worth twice as much as the others. And so there's this kind of element of trying to vote for your faction or your way that you want to score, but it's kind of a two-part thing. You'll get the double of scoring, but you have to get your workers into the hubs, and of course there's many mechanics where people can move your workers around to other hubs and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the main gist of this game, is just trying to kind of vote for, in two ways you're really kind of voting. You're voting with actual voting chips on which which scoring you want to be the better one, and you're voting with your workers to improve the scoring for your favorite scoring method. And that's basically the game. Everything else is kind of window dressing on that. But it works quite well, and in that way it's kind of in some ways a social game, because you're trying to figure out what the other players around the table, how they want to score for the game, and either outvote them or play with them, because if you've got as much invested into the same thing they do, they're not going to really get ahead of you in points, and so you can kind of chase them with that way, or try to diversify out into something that if there's somebody leading and they've got a lot of points in mega structures, but they're not diversifying a lot, you can probably you can invest in that heavily as well, but also try to diversify in like the second most valuable thing to try to get ahead of them, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of kind of mind games like that going on in this game. Okay, so what don't I like about this game, or what do I not think others might not like about this game? Honestly, I think there's not much to not like in this. The beginning of the game does get fairly scripted, so that's one of the things that we've found. There's definitely a better way. Certain plays that you have to make early in the game or you're not going to win. One of those things being there's this action here where you're taking these black workers. The bonus for getting these ones is to put out these outposts onto the board, which frees up more available worker slots on your board, so that you can draw more workers every turn. So you definitely have to do that early game and get these out as fast as possible, because if the other players do it before you, they're going to have more actions and that kind of thing. So there's stuff like that the game can get quite scripted for the first few turns, but it diverges quite quickly after that. So it's really just the first few turns, and the turns do go pretty quickly in this game, because the actions are fairly small, so you're not really taking a lot of time on each of your actions. So that's good that the actions are going quick. The other thing is, if you don't like that social aspect to the game, if you don't like that, then you might not like this game, because there is that kind of that whole thing about trying to figure out what people are going for, and voting and making sure you get enough votes in, and it could also make with odd player, we play this mostly with 3 players, so at that count, if 2 people are voting on the same thing, then the third person doesn't really have a chance. So maybe this would be a bit better in even player counts, where you don't have the ability for 2 players to kind of like choose and get left out on that, and having to go with the flow. The other thing is, if everybody's kind of keen on what people are going for, you can get into some games where everybody's investing in the same thing, so there's not much differentiation there. So those can be kind of weird games where you're just it could be just a mining token or some small thing that is the difference between the games. As for what do I like about this game, and what others might like about this game, I mean, Orleans is one of my favorite games, and it's a typical Euro game. It has not much theme in it, and so I really like the fact that this is Orleans in space. I much prefer this theme to the theme in Orleans, and this is very similar to Orleans in a lot of ways. So the fact that I get to play one of my favorite kind of mechanisms and how that game plays, but play it with a better theme, I really like that a lot. So I think if you're someone who likes Orleans or is a fan of Orleans, you should give this one a try, because if you like the space theme, of course, then you might really like this game. Um, the other things is the games are quite quick. The turns are quite quick, so it moves pretty fast. And at least early in the campaign, you're going to be able to get a couple of games in a night, probably, if you want to. As the game, as you get better at the game and you further into the campaign, I mean, more stuff gets added. The board gets bigger, things like that, and so the game does slow down a bit as you progress through the campaign. So we're at the point we're at right now. We can only get one game in a night, so games are much longer than they were at the start. Yeah, so if you like the Orleans style game, then you'll like this. If you like the sci-fi theme, and uh, there's not a ton of interaction in this game besides the kind of voting and the point scoring. I guess there's a little bit because you can jostle around the workers as you vote on things. There are mechanics in here to help you move stuff back and forth, and so sometimes that's what happens. People are moving your workers back and forth, so that can get kind of interesting and tricky, and how people do that. So that kind of adds a good level of interactivity into a Euro game, which you tend to not to be super interactive. So I like that this has I like more interactive games. So the fact that this is more interactive is a plus for me on this game. Um, Campaign wise, I have not finished the campaign yet, but I'm far enough in it that I can kind of comment a bit on the campaign. I think it is legacy, so you're going to be writing on the cards. So if you don't like doing that, you might want to sleeve the cards and then put stickers on them or something like that. There is a recharge pack you can buy. I'm fine with writing on the cards. I kind of like that. It gives a history to the game, and when you're playing it with friends, you can bring back memories of those games that you had. Oh, remember when I named this planet or something like that. So I kind of like that. But everybody's kind of a little different in that. So if you don't, it's not too big a deal. The legacy part in here. There's only a couple. I mean, the scoring's in this magazine, so I mean, you could photocopy those out and not write in here. I'm writing in here because I don't really care. I mean, it's just a magazine. It's got some comics in it, and it's got a lot of backstory in it, so it's kind of interesting too. There's, for a Euro game to have like this magazine serves no other purpose than it has a bunch of fake articles and stuff about the world that you're playing in. So it's kind of interesting that they've really built out this world and put that flavor in here. And then the scoring in the back is basically kind of the history of this civilization. This kind of like race to uh, to to colonize and industrialize the solar system. Yeah. So campaign wise, I'm kind of so on the campaign. So and the legacy aspects of this. So I haven't played many legacy games. The only other one I've really played is Clank Legacy, and so if you're looking for something like Clank Legacy, where there's big reveals constantly throughout the game, and lots of stuff changing all the time, that's not going to happen in this one. It changes quite a bit. The first four games are quite scripted, and things get opened up quite a bit in the first four games. You'll be adding new stuff every game, but it's more like you're starting with a dumbed down set of the rules, and they're just kind of slowly teaching you the game and getting you to the point where they're after the fourth game you're kind of in the real game. So it's just more like kind of spoon feeding you the rules for the first four games. But then after that first four games, the changes slow down quite a bit. We actually had, I think we've played 7 or 8 times now, and we had 3 games in a row where nothing was opened or added. So if you're looking for a legacy aspect where you're always adding things and new things are popping out all the time, this isn't it. Things come out quite slowly in this game, depending on how you go through the game, because you get to choose kind of your path through the game. And the way we chose, we've kind of had quite a bit of a delay since the first 4 games where we never saw anything new, and then probably the next couple of games we're going to see some new things. But the new things we're seeing they're not major changes to the game. They're kind of dribs and drabs. So yeah, if you're looking for that kind of legacy aspect, you're not going to find it here. And I'm thinking by looking at how the stuff comes out in the game, you probably got to play 20 or 30 games before you'll see everything that can come out. So that can be quite slow if you're not going to play this game, 30 to 40 times or whatever it is. So that's a little disappointing, but I mean it's your game. You don't have to go through the whole legacy campaign experience. If you get tired of that, you can always just open up the stuff and see what it is, and then it's a modular game that you can add stuff to and kind of tune it to how you like to play it. Okay, so final thoughts on this one. I think we really enjoy playing. My group really enjoys playing this game. I would not recommend the. I did the solo playthrough in my playthrough video, but I would not recommend playing the game that way. I didn't find the AI to be particularly good, and really because of the social aspects of this game, you really want to play this. I think with 3 or 4 players. I also don't think that 2 players. I've not played it at 2 players, so I'm just guessing here. But the way the game is constructed, I don't think it would be the greatest 2 player game. I'm thinking 3 or 4 is probably the sweet spot in here. We really enjoy it. 3 players is mostly what we play it at. So at 3 players, I think this is a really solid Euro game. It's a lot of fun, and having the legacy aspects, even though they're not really super present in the game and they come out slowly, it is kind of nice that as the game starts to get stale, it'll add a little bit of something new into the game and freshen it up again for a while, and then keep going that way. So that I really like about the game. So that makes it more interesting. So as far as final scores go, I'm giving this one an 8. I think it's a solid Euro with a really good theme, and I like the world that they've kind of put in here, and it's interesting having those legacy aspects into the game. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, thank you.